The autumn mist hung low over the ancient stone buildings of St. Andrews University as Catherine Elizabeth Middleton pulled her suitcase along the cobblestone path toward St. Salvator's Hall. The year was 2001, and the 19-year-old from Berkshire had no idea that her life was about to intertwine with one of the most famous young men in the world. She was simply Kate then, a bright-eyed art history student with long chestnut hair and a warm smile, excited about starting university life at Scotland's oldest institution of higher learning. Kate had grown up in the village of Bucklebury, where her parents, Michael and Carol Middleton, had built a successful party supply business called Party Pieces. The family lived comfortably in a Georgian manor house, and Kate had attended Marlborough College, one of England's most prestigious private schools. She was sporty, intelligent, and had a natural grace that made her popular among her peers. Her childhood had been filled with field hockey matches, tennis lessons, and family holidays to the Caribbean and the Alps. Yet despite her privileged upbringing, Kate maintained a down-to-earth nature that would serve her well in the years to come. Meanwhile, Prince William Arthur Philip Louis was experiencing his own mix of excitement and trepidation about university life. The eldest son of Prince Charles and the late Princess Diana, William had grown up in the spotlight, his every move documented by the press since birth. At 19, he stood tall at 6'3", with his mother's striking blue eyes and his father's sandy hair. The weight of being second in line to the throne was something he had carried since childhood, but at St. Andrews, he hoped to experience something approaching a normal university life. William's journey to St. Andrews had been carefully planned by the royal household. After completing his studies at Eton College, where he had excelled in swimming and water polo while maintaining good academic standards, the prince had taken a gap year. He had spent time in Belize with the Welsh Guards, worked on British dairy farms, and participated in Raleigh international expeditions in Chile. These experiences had given him a broader perspective on life beyond the palace walls and reinforced his desire for as normal a university experience as possible. Andrews was strategic. The Scottish University offered excellent academic programs, particularly in art history, which interested William. More importantly, it provided a degree of privacy that would be impossible at Oxford or Cambridge, where the media presence would have been overwhelming. The university administration had agreed to give William space to study without constant harassment from photographers and journalists, though they couldn't eliminate media interest entirely. On that crisp September morning, as both William and Kate settled into their respective dormitories, neither could have imagined the fairy tale that would unfold over the next decade. William was housed in St. Salvator's Hall, the same Victorian Gothic residence where Kate had been assigned a room just floors away. The hall, known simply as Sally's to students, was one of the university's oldest residences, with its distinctive red sandstone walls and imposing towers creating an atmosphere steeped in centuries of academic tradition. Kate's first weeks at university were filled with the typical freshman experiences, making new friends, navigating the dining hall, and adjusting to the independence of university life. She quickly established herself as a friendly, reliable presence in her hall. Her roommates found her easy to get along with, though they noticed she had an unusual interest in keeping up with royal news. Little did they know that the subject of many of those news stories was living just a few floors away. William's university experience was complicated by his royal status from the very beginning. Despite the university's best efforts to treat him like any other student, his presence attracted attention. Security personnel maintained a discreet but constant watch, and fellow students were naturally curious about their famous classmate. However, William was determined to make genuine friends and have authentic experiences. He joined the university water polo team and participated in hall activities, gradually earning the respect of his peers for his down-to-earth nature rather than his royal title. The first encounter between William and Kate was unremarkable by fairy tale standards. It happened in the dining hall of St. Salvator's, where students gathered for meals and casual conversation. Kate was sitting with a group of friends when William entered with his small circle of close companions. Their eyes met briefly across the crowded room, but it was nothing more than the casual acknowledgement that might pass between any two students. Over the following weeks, however, they began to move in overlapping social circles. St. Andrews was small enough that students in the same year and residence hall naturally encountered each other regularly. Kate's friends included several people who had become friendly with William, and she occasionally found herself part of larger groups that included the prince. These early interactions were casual and group-based, with no hint of romantic interest on either side. Kate's approach to William was refreshingly normal. She treated him as just another student rather than fawning over his royal status. This naturalistic approach was exactly what William needed and appreciated. He had grown weary of people who were either intimidated by his position or who wanted to befriend him solely because of his title. Kate's genuine disinterest in his royal status ironically made her more interesting to him than many other young women he had met. The autumn term progressed with both students settling into their academic routines. William was studying art history and geography, while Kate focused on art history with plans to explore psychology as well. They shared some lectures, particularly in art history, where they would occasionally find themselves sitting in the same large lecture halls. Kate was a diligent student who took careful notes and participated thoughtfully in discussions. William, despite the distractions of his unique situation, was also academically engaged and proved to be more serious about his studies than some had expected. Their first meaningful conversation happened during a study session in the university library. Kate was researching a paper on Renaissance art when she noticed William struggling with some of the same source materials she had been working with earlier. Without thinking too much about it, she approached him and offered to share her notes and insights. This simple act of academic kindness led to a 45-minute discussion about artistic techniques and historical context. William was struck by Kate's intelligence and her ability to engage with the material on a sophisticated level. From that point forward, their interactions became more frequent and comfortable. They began sitting together in lectures when circumstances allowed, and their conversations extended beyond academic topics. Kate learned about William's genuine passion for conservation and his concerns about his future role, while William discovered Kate's love of photography and her close-knit family relationships. These conversations revealed depths in both young people that went far beyond their public images. The Christmas break of 2001 provided a pause in their developing friendship. William returned to the royal estates, dividing his time between Sandringham and Highgrove, while Kate went home to Bucklebury. During these weeks apart, both found themselves thinking about their conversations and looking forward to returning to St. Andrews. For William, Kate represented a connection to normalcy and genuine friendship that was rare in his life. For Kate, William was becoming more than just a famous classmate. He was someone whose company she genuinely enjoyed, and whose thoughts and feelings she found increasingly interesting. When the spring term began in January 2002, their friendship picked up where it had left off, but with a subtle shift in dynamics, they sought each other out more deliberately, often choosing to study together or grab coffee between classes. Their conversations became more personal, with William sharing stories about the challenges of growing up in the royal family, and Kate opening up about her own family dynamics and future aspirations. The social scene at St. Andrews provided numerous opportunities for their relationship to develop. University parties, formal dinners, and casual gatherings all served as backdrops for their growing connection. Kate's friends noticed that she seemed particularly animated and happy when William was around, while William's close friends observed that he was more relaxed and genuinely himself in Kate's presence than they had seen him with other young women. One particularly memorable evening in March 2002 would later be recognized as a turning point in their relationship, though neither realized it at the time. A group of students from St. Salvator's had organized an informal dinner party in one of the common rooms. William and Kate found themselves seated next to each other, and their conversation flowed effortlessly throughout the evening. They discovered shared interests in skiing, photography, and outdoor activities. More importantly, they found that they shared similar values about family, loyalty, and making a positive difference in the world. As the evening wound down, William walked Kate back to her room, a journey that took far longer than necessary as they continued talking in the hallways. Standing outside her door, there was a moment of heightened awareness between them, a recognition that their friendship was evolving into something deeper. However, both were cautious about moving too quickly, particularly given the complications that William's royal status would inevitably bring to any romantic relationship. The remainder of the spring term saw their relationship continue to deepen, though still within the bounds of friendship. They studied together regularly, often in Kate's room or in quiet corners of the library. These study sessions frequently extended into long conversations about everything from art and literature to their hopes and fears for the future. William found himself able to be completely honest with Kate about the pressures he faced and his uncertainties about his role, while Kate shared her own dreams and insecurities. Kate's natural photography skills became another point of connection. She often carried her camera around campus, capturing both formal university events and candid moments of student life. William, who had developed an interest in photography partly through his mother's influence, enjoyed looking at Kate's work and discussing composition and technique with her. On several occasions, he served as an informal model for her photography projects, leading to relaxed and enjoyable sessions that felt more like play than work. The approach of final exams created additional opportunities for William and Kate to spend time together. Study groups formed naturally, and they found themselves part of a close-knit group of students who met regularly to review material and quiz each other. During these intense study sessions, their mutual support and encouragement became increasingly evident to their friends. William helped Kate with geography concepts while she assisted him with art history details, but more importantly, they provided emotional support during the stressful exam period. By the end of their first year at St. Andrews, William and Kate had developed a deep and meaningful friendship that was beginning to show signs of romantic potential. They had weathered the initial curiosity about William's royal status and established a relationship based on genuine compatibility and mutual respect. Their friends had begun to notice the special connection between them, though both William and Kate remained careful not to define their relationship in romantic terms. The summer break of 2002 would test the strength of the foundation they had built during their first year at university. William's summer was planned around royal duties and family obligations, while Kate looked forward to traveling and working with her family's business. As they prepared to part ways for the longest separation since they had met, both felt a sense of anticipation about what their second year at St. Andrews might bring. Their farewell before summer break was conducted with typical British reserve, but there was an undercurrent of deeper feeling that neither could entirely ignore. They promised to stay in touch and made tentative plans to meet up if their schedules allowed. As William watched Kate walk away toward her car, loaded with books and belongings for the summer, he found himself already missing her presence and looking forward to September with unusual intensity. For Kate, the drive home to Bucklebury was filled with reflection on an extraordinary year. She had arrived at St. Andrews as an excited but typical university student, and was leaving having formed a deep connection with someone whose life was anything but typical. The implications of her growing feelings for William were not lost on her, but she was not one to worry excessively about future complications. Instead, she focused on the genuine happiness that his friendship brought her and the hope that their connection would continue to grow in the year ahead. The summer of 2002 would prove to be a time of reflection and anticipation for both young people, setting the stage for the next chapter of their developing love story. The summer of 2002 stretched endlessly before both William and Kate, marked by an unexpected longing that neither had fully anticipated. For William, the months were filled with the structured obligations of royal life: official visits, charity events, and family gatherings at various royal residences. Yet throughout these formal occasions, his thoughts frequently drifted to the spirited young woman from Berkshire, who had made his university experience feel genuinely normal for the first time in his life. Kate's summer was spent working with her family's party supply business, Party Pieces, which had grown substantially since her parents had founded it years earlier. She helped with everything from product development to customer service, gaining valuable business experience while contributing to the family enterprise. However, even as she threw herself into work and enjoyed time with her family, she found herself checking the news more frequently than usual, looking for updates about William's royal engagements and wondering what he was thinking about their friendship. The physical separation during those months served an important purpose, though neither realized it at the time. It allowed both young people to gain perspective on what had developed between them during their first year at St. Andrews. For William, the contrast between his highly regulated royal summer and the easy companionship he had enjoyed with Kate became increasingly stark. He began to understand how much her presence had meant to him, not just as a friend, but as someone who could see past his title to the person he truly was. During a particularly formal state dinner at Buckingham Palace in July, William found himself going through the motions of polite conversation with various dignitaries, while his mind wandered to the informal conversations he had shared with Kate over coffee in St. Andrews. The difference was profound. With Kate, he could express genuine thoughts and feelings without constant awareness of protocol and propriety. This realization marked the beginning of his understanding that what he felt for Kate was developing beyond friendship. Meanwhile, Kate was experiencing her own moments of clarity about her feelings. During a family holiday to Barbados, She found herself declining the attention of several young men who approached her, something that surprised even her family members. When her younger sister Pippa teased her about being unusually selective, Kate couldn't bring herself to explain that no one seemed quite as interesting or engaging as a certain prince she had left behind in Scotland. The technological limitations of 2002 made maintaining contact more challenging than it would be for students today. Email was available, but not yet ubiquitous among university students, and social media did not exist. Mobile phones were becoming more common, but long-distance charges made regular calling expensive. Despite these obstacles, William and Kate managed to exchange several letters during the summer, carefully written communications that revealed growing affection beneath their surface casualness. William's letters to Kate were written on royal stationery, a detail that initially made her nervous about the implications of their correspondence. However, the content of his letters was warm and personal, filled with observations about his summer experiences and questions about her activities. He wrote about his growing interest in conservation work and his visits to various estates where he was learning about land management and environmental protection. More personally, he shared his frustrations with the formality of royal life and his appreciation for the genuine friendship they had developed. Kate's responses were equally thoughtful and revealed her own developing sophistication and maturity. She wrote about her work with the family business and the insights she was gaining into entrepreneurship and customer relations. She shared stories about her photography projects and her travels around England and Europe. Most importantly, she demonstrated a natural ability to offer William emotional support and understanding about the unique challenges he faced, while never making him feel pitied or treated differently because of his circumstances. One letter exchange in particular marked a subtle shift in their relationship. In mid-July, William wrote to Kate about attending the funeral of the Queen Mother earlier that year, describing the mixture of personal grief and public duty he had experienced. Kate's response was thoughtful and compassionate, acknowledging both his personal loss and the additional burden of mourning in public. Her ability to understand and address both dimensions of his experience touched William deeply and made him realize how rare it was to find someone who could relate to the complexities of his position. As August drew to a close, both William and Kate found themselves increasingly excited about returning to St. Andrews. For William, the prospect of resuming his friendship with Kate had become one of the most appealing aspects of his return to university. For Kate, the anticipation of seeing William again confirmed what she had begun to suspect during their summer apart. Her feelings for him had grown well beyond friendship. The return to St. Andrews in September 2002 marked the beginning of their second year and a new phase in their relationship. Both had matured during the summer months, and their reunion was marked by a deeper level of comfort and understanding. When William saw Kate again for the first time, walking across the quadrangle with her characteristic confident stride and bright smile, he felt a surge of happiness that confirmed his growing romantic feelings. For their second year, both William and Kate had moved out of the residence halls and into shared housing arrangements that were typical for upper-level students. William was sharing a flat with two close male friends, while Kate was living with three other young women in a charming stone cottage near the university. This new living arrangement provided more privacy and freedom than the residence halls had offered, creating opportunities for their relationship to develop more naturally. Their first extended time together after the summer break came during a group outing to a local pub that had become popular with St. Andrews students. The pub, with its low ceilings, stone walls, and cozy atmosphere, provided a perfect setting for relaxed conversation. William and Kate found themselves sitting together, naturally gravitating toward each other despite the presence of other friends. Their conversation flowed easily, picking up where their summer letters had left off, and other students in their group began to notice the special connection between them. The academic year also brought new challenges and opportunities for both students. William had decided to continue with art history and geography, while Kate was exploring a broader range of subjects including psychology and literature. They still shared some classes, particularly in art history, and these academic connections provided regular opportunities for interaction. Their study sessions became more frequent and intimate, often taking place in quiet corners of the university library or in each other's living spaces. One October evening that would later be remembered as particularly significant occurred when Kate invited William to dinner at the cottage she shared with her flatmates. She had volunteered to cook for the group, and William was among the friends invited to join them. Kate's cooking skills, learned during family holidays and refined during her gap-year travels, impressed everyone present. More importantly, the domestic setting allowed William to see Kate in a new light, observing her natural ability to create a warm, welcoming environment that put everyone at ease. After dinner, as the other guests gradually departed, William lingered to help Kate clean up. Working together in the small kitchen, washing dishes and putting away leftovers, created an intimacy that both found appealing. Their conversation during this time was particularly personal, with Kate sharing stories about her family traditions and William opening up about his memories of his mother and her influence on his values and aspirations. As they finished the cleanup, William found himself reluctant to leave. Standing in Kate's small living room surrounded by her personal belongings and photographs, he felt more comfortable and at home than he had in months. When Kate walked him to the door, there was a moment of heightened awareness between them, a recognition that their relationship was poised to change. However, both remained cautious, understanding instinctively that any romantic development needed to proceed carefully and naturally. The weeks following this dinner marked a period of subtle but significant changes in their relationship. They began spending more time together in one-on-one situations rather than always as part of larger groups. These interactions included study sessions that often extended into long conversations, walks around the beautiful St. Andrews campus and surrounding countryside, and coffee meetings that lasted for hours. Their friends began to notice the developing connection between William and Kate, though both were discreet about the changing nature of their relationship. Kate's flatmates observed that she seemed happier and more energetic when she had plans to see William, while William's close friends noted that he was more relaxed and seemed to genuinely enjoy himself when Kate was around. One particularly memorable day in November involved a group expedition to explore the ruins of St. Andrew's Cathedral and St. Andrew's Castle. The ancient stones and dramatic coastal setting provided a romantic backdrop, though the outing was officially just a casual group activity. William and Kate found themselves walking together, slightly separated from the rest of the group, as they explored the historic sites. Kate's knowledge of art history and architecture impressed William, while her enthusiasm for photography led to an impromptu photo session among the ruins. During this outing, William offered to take some photographs of Kate against the backdrop of the ancient cathedral. As he looked at her through the camera lens, framed by centuries-old stone arches and with the North Sea stretching out behind her, he was struck by her natural beauty and grace. The photographs from that day would later become some of their most treasured early memories, capturing a moment when their relationship was transitioning from friendship to something deeper. The approach of the Christmas holidays in December 2002 created a new dynamic in their relationship. Both were facing another separation, but this time the prospect was more difficult, because they had grown closer during the autumn term. Their feelings for each other had deepened considerably, though neither had yet explicitly acknowledged the romantic nature of their connection. Their last evening together before the holiday break was spent at a small restaurant in St. Andrews that had become one of their favorite spots. The intimate setting, with its candlelit tables and quiet atmosphere, provided the perfect environment for an important conversation. Over dinner, they talked more openly about their feelings and the unique challenges that any relationship between them would face. William was honest about the complications that his royal status would bring to any romantic relationship. He explained the constant media attention, the security requirements, and the expectations that would be placed on any woman he chose to date seriously. Kate listened thoughtfully, asking practical questions and demonstrating a mature understanding of the implications. Rather than being intimidated by these challenges, she seemed to view them as obstacles that could be managed, rather than insurmountable barriers. Kate, for her part, shared her own concerns about maintaining her independence and continuing her education, while potentially being in a relationship with someone whose life was so public. She expressed her desire to complete her degree and pursue her own interests, rather than simply being defined by her relationship with William. This conversation revealed the strength of character and independence that William had grown to admire in Kate. As the evening drew to a close, they walked slowly back toward Kate's cottage, both reluctant to end their time together. Standing outside her door, William took Kate's hand for the first time in a gesture that was both romantic and tender. They didn't kiss, but the physical connection was meaningful and marked a new level of intimacy in their relationship. Their goodbye was emotional but hopeful, Both understood that their relationship had reached a turning point and that the Christmas break would provide time to consider their feelings and the implications of pursuing a romantic relationship. William promised to stay in touch more regularly than they had during the previous summer, and Kate assured him that she would be thinking about their conversation and looking forward to his return. The Christmas break of 2002 was a time of reflection and decision-making for both young people. William spent time with his family at Sandringham, but his thoughts frequently turned to Kate and their developing relationship. He found himself confiding in his father, Prince Charles, about his feelings and the challenges he anticipated if their relationship continued to develop romantically. Prince Charles, drawing on his own experiences with relationships in the public eye, provided thoughtful guidance about the importance of finding someone who could understand and support the unique demands of royal life. He encouraged William to follow his heart while being mindful of the responsibilities and pressures that any partner would face. Kate spent her holiday reflecting on the conversation she had shared with William and considering whether she was prepared for the dramatic changes that a romantic relationship with him would bring to her life. She talked extensively with her parents, who provided wise counsel about the importance of staying true to herself, regardless of the circumstances she might face. By the time January 2003 arrived and both students prepared to return to St. Andrews for their spring term, both had reached similar conclusions. They were ready to explore the romantic potential of their relationship, understanding that it would bring challenges, but believing that their connection was strong enough to warrant taking that risk. Their reunion at St. Andrews in January was charged with new energy and possibility. When William saw Kate again arriving back at university with her characteristic warm smile and confident demeanor, he knew that his feelings during the break had only grown stronger. Kate's reaction was equally positive, and their first conversation after the holiday confirmed that both were ready to move their relationship to the next level. The winter term of 2003 would prove to be a pivotal time in their relationship, as friendship finally blossomed into acknowledged romance, setting the stage for a love story that would captivate the world and ultimately lead to one of the most watched royal weddings in history. The winter term of 2003 began with a transformation that would forever alter the course of both William and Kate's lives. The careful friendship they had nurtured for over a year was about to blossom into the romance that would eventually make Kate a princess and future queen. The ancient stone buildings of St. Andrews University, with their centuries of history and tradition, provided the perfect backdrop for a love story that seemed destined to become part of royal legend. The shift from friendship to romance was both gradual and sudden, like the Scottish weather that could change from sunshine to rain in moments. It began with small gestures that held deeper meaning. William offering Kate his jacket during a chilly evening walk, Kate saving him a seat in lectures even when the hall was nearly empty, and the way their conversations lingered longer than necessary, neither wanting to break the spell of their growing intimacy. Their first official date, though neither called it that at the time, occurred on a February evening when William invited Kate to join him for dinner at a small Italian restaurant tucked away in one of St. Andrews' narrow medieval streets. The restaurant, with its checkered tablecloths and candles stuck in wine bottles, was far from the grand dining rooms William was accustomed to, but it offered something far more valuable: privacy and intimacy. Kate arrived wearing a simple black dress that William would later say took his breath away. Her natural elegance and understated beauty had always impressed him, but seeing her that evening, dressed with care for what they both knew was a special occasion, made his heart race in a way that was entirely new to him. As they settled into their corner table, the nervous energy that had characterized their recent interactions gave way to the comfortable familiarity of their friendship, enhanced now by the excitement of romantic possibility. Over plates of pasta and glasses of red wine, they talked about everything and nothing. Kate shared stories from her gap-year travels, describing adventures in Florence, where she had studied art, and the independence she had discovered living abroad. William spoke about his own gap-year experiences, but more importantly, he opened up about his hopes for the future and his struggles with the weight of expectation that came with his birthright. The conversation that evening revealed depths in both young people that even their closest friends hadn't seen. Kate demonstrated a wisdom and maturity that impressed William, showing not just sympathy for the challenges he faced, but practical understanding of how to navigate them. She asked thoughtful questions about his royal duties and listened carefully to his answers, never making him feel judged or pressured. For her part, Kate felt comfortable enough to share her own uncertainties about the future, and her desire to make a meaningful contribution to the world, whatever form that might take. As the evening wound down and they walked slowly back through the empty streets of St. Andrews, William took Kate's hand in his. This time, the gesture felt natural and right, a physical manifestation of the emotional connection they had been building for months. When they reached Kate's cottage, they stood outside for nearly an hour, reluctant to end the evening, talking quietly under the streetlights while the winter wind whispered around them. Their first kiss came at the end of that magical evening, tender and tentative, but filled with the promise of everything that lay ahead. It was a moment that both would remember with perfect clarity for the rest of their lives. The way the streetlight cast shadows on Kate's face, the sound of distant music from a nearby pub, and the overwhelming sense that their lives were about to change forever. The days following their first official date were filled with the excitement and uncertainty that characterizes the beginning of any romance, but theirs carried the additional complexity of William's unique position. They were careful to keep their developing relationship private, not wanting to attract attention from other students or, more importantly, from any media who might be watching for signs of William's romantic life. Their relationship developed in the stolen moments between classes and in the quiet corners of the university where they could be alone together. They took long walks along West Sands Beach, the same stretch of sand where centuries of St. Andrews students had walked before them. The beach, with its endless views of the North Sea and its sense of isolation from the rest of the world, became their favorite retreat. There, with the wind whipping their hair and the sound of waves crashing on the shore, they could forget about royal protocols and media attention and simply be two young people falling in love. Kate's approach to their relationship was characterized by the same naturalness that had first attracted William to her. She didn't change her behavior or try to conform to any preconceived notions of how a future royal girlfriend should act. Instead, she remained authentically herself, warm, intelligent, funny, and refreshingly normal. This consistency was exactly what William needed. He had grown up surrounded by people who treated him differently because of his title, and Kate's refusal to be intimidated by his status was both rare and precious. Their academic pursuits provided numerous opportunities for their relationship to deepen. They began studying together regularly, often in Kate's cottage where they could work without interruption. These study sessions frequently extended late into the evening, with academic work giving way to intimate conversations about their hopes, dreams, and fears. Kate learned about the pressures William felt about living up to his mother's legacy, and his concerns about the impact of royal duty on personal happiness. William discovered Kate's ambition to use her education to make a difference in the world and her deep commitment to family values. Spring arrived early in 2003, bringing longer days and warmer weather that seemed to mirror the blossoming of their relationship. They began spending entire weekends together, exploring the Scottish countryside around St. Andrews and discovering hidden gems like ancient castles, secluded beaches, and charming villages. These adventures, often undertaken with just a basic map and William's security detail following at a discreet distance, gave them a sense of freedom and normalcy that was precious to both of them. During one particularly memorable weekend excursion to the nearby town of St. Monans, they visited a small fishing village where time seemed to have stopped decades earlier. Walking hand in hand through the narrow streets and along the harbor, they attracted no attention from the locals, who were more interested in their daily routines than in any visiting students. They had lunch at a tiny pub overlooking the harbor, sharing fish and chips while watching fishing boats return with their daily catch. The simplicity of the experience was exactly what William craved and what Kate loved providing. It was during this trip that they had their first serious conversation about the future of their relationship. Sitting on a bench overlooking the harbor, with seagulls calling overhead and the smell of salt air surrounding them, they talked honestly about what they meant to each other and where their relationship might lead. William was frank about the scrutiny and pressure that any serious girlfriend of his would face. He explained the constant media attention, the security requirements, and the expectations of royal protocol that would become part of her life. Kate listened thoughtfully to everything William shared, asking practical questions and demonstrating a mature understanding of what he was describing. Rather than being frightened by the challenges he outlined, she seemed to view them as obstacles that could be managed with careful planning and strong commitment. She expressed confidence in her ability to handle media attention and royal expectations while maintaining her own identity and pursuing her own goals. More importantly, Kate made it clear that her feelings for William were strong enough to face whatever challenges lay ahead. She told him that she had fallen in love with him as a person, not as a prince, and that she was prepared to support him in his future role while building a meaningful life for herself as well. This conversation marked a turning point in their relationship, as both acknowledged that they were no longer just dating casually, but were considering a serious long-term commitment to each other. As their second year at St. Andrews drew to a close, William and Kate had established a relationship that was mature, committed, and built on a foundation of genuine friendship and mutual respect. They had successfully navigated the unique challenges posed by William's royal status while maintaining the normal aspects of university life that were so important to both of them. Their friends had gradually become aware of their romantic relationship, though William and Kate remained discreet about the details. Those closest to them could see the happiness that their relationship brought to both young people. William seemed more relaxed and confident than he had ever been, while Kate glowed with the contentment that comes from being deeply in love with someone who loves you in return. The approach of summer break in 2003 presented new challenges and opportunities for their relationship. This would be their first separation as a couple, and both were anxious about maintaining their connection while being apart for several months. However, they were also excited about the possibility of introducing each other to their respective families and friends outside of the university environment. William had already spoken to his father about Kate, describing his feelings and the seriousness of their relationship. Prince Charles had expressed interest in meeting Kate properly, and had given his preliminary approval of the relationship based on William's obvious happiness and the positive reports he had received about Kate's character and background. Kate, meanwhile, had gradually shared news of her relationship with her family, though she had been careful not to overwhelm them with the full implications of dating the future king. Her parents, Michael and Carol, had raised their children with strong values and good sense, and they trusted Kate's judgment about her relationships. They were naturally concerned about the pressures she might face, but they were also proud of their daughter and confident in her ability to handle whatever challenges came her way. The summer of 2003 would prove to be crucial for William and Kate's relationship. For the first time, they would have to navigate their romance in the context of their separate family and social obligations. William's summer would be filled with royal engagements, formal events, and family gatherings, where Kate's presence would be noticed and analyzed. Kate's summer would involve work with the family business and social activities in Berkshire, where her relationship with William would inevitably become known to a wider circle of people. Despite these challenges, both were optimistic about their future together. They had weathered the initial stages of their relationship successfully and had built a strong foundation of love, trust, and mutual understanding. They had proven to themselves and each other that their connection was strong enough to withstand the unique pressures they would face. As they prepared for their summer apart, both William and Kate were confident that their relationship would not only survive the separation, but would emerge stronger. They had found in each other something rare and precious, a partner who could understand and support the demands of an extraordinary life, while providing the love and companionship that makes any life worth living. Their goodbye before summer break was emotional but hopeful. Standing outside Kate's cottage on their last evening together before the holiday, they made promises to stay in close touch and began making tentative plans for Kate to visit some of William's favorite places later in the summer. The kiss they shared that evening was filled with love and confidence about their future together. As Kate watched William drive away, she felt a mixture of sadness and excitement. The summer ahead would test their relationship in new ways, but she was ready for the challenge. She had fallen deeply in love with a remarkable young man, and she was prepared to do whatever it took to build a future with him, regardless of the obstacles they might face. The summer of 2003 would mark the beginning of Kate's gradual introduction into the royal world, a process that would transform her from a university student into the poised and confident woman who would eventually become the Princess of Wales. The summer of 2003 marked a pivotal transition in William and Kate's relationship, as their romance moved beyond the protective bubble of university life into the scrutinizing gaze of the royal world. For the first time, Kate would experience what it truly meant to be involved with someone whose every move was watched, analyzed, and reported upon by a media hungry for royal news. The season began innocuously enough, with both William and Kate returning to their respective families for what appeared to be a typical summer break. William resumed his royal duties, participating in various ceremonies and engagements while spending time at the traditional royal residences. Kate returned to Bucklebury, where she threw herself into work with party pieces, helping her family's business navigate its continued growth and expansion. However, the dynamics of their relationship had fundamentally changed since the previous summer. They were no longer just friends maintaining casual contact. They were a committed couple trying to nurture their romance despite physical separation and the mounting pressures of William's public role. The challenge of maintaining their connection while living in such different worlds would test the strength of their relationship in ways they had never experienced. Their communication during those early summer weeks was frequent and increasingly intimate. Unlike the previous year's careful letters, their correspondence now carried the warmth and affection of an established romantic relationship. William wrote to Kate about the formal events he attended, but he also shared his growing desire to introduce her to his world properly. Kate's letters revealed her excitement about their relationship, while also expressing some natural nervousness about the increased scrutiny she knew was coming. The first significant milestone in their relationship's evolution came in July, when William invited Kate to accompany him to a polo match at Beaufort Polo Club in Gloucestershire. This invitation was significant because it marked Kate's first appearance at a semi-public event where she would inevitably be seen and photographed alongside William. For the royal family, it represented an unofficial announcement that William's relationship was serious enough to warrant public acknowledgement. Kate approached this debut with characteristic thoughtfulness and preparation. She spent considerable time choosing her outfit, settling on an elegant ensemble that struck the right balance between formality and approachability. Her choice of a flowing summer dress in navy blue with subtle accessories demonstrated an instinctive understanding of appropriate royal attire that would serve her well in the years to come. The polo match itself provided the perfect environment for Kate's first foray into William's public world. The relaxed atmosphere of the sporting event, combined with the predominantly private guest list, allowed her to observe royal protocol. Without being thrust immediately into the spotlight, she watched the match with genuine interest, asking intelligent questions about the sport and showing appropriate enthusiasm for William's performance on the field. More importantly, the event gave Kate her first opportunity to interact with members of William's extended family and social circle. Her natural grace and genuine warmth made a positive impression on everyone she met. She demonstrated an ability to engage in conversation without appearing nervous or overwhelmed, and her obvious affection for William was evident to all who observed them together. Prince Charles attended the polo match and was formally introduced to Kate for the first time in an official capacity. Their conversation was brief but significant, with Charles noting Kate's intelligence and her obvious positive effect on William. This meeting marked the beginning of what would become a warm relationship between Kate and her future father-in-law, built on mutual respect and their shared dedication to William's happiness. The photographs taken at the polo match would later be recognized as historically significant, capturing Kate's first appearance as William's acknowledged girlfriend. The images showed a confident young woman who appeared completely comfortable in her new environment, standing close to William and sharing laughs with other guests. The body language between William and Kate revealed a couple deeply in love and completely at ease with each other. Following the success of the polo match, William became more confident about including Kate in other aspects of his summer activities. She was invited to several private gatherings at royal residences, giving her the opportunity to experience the grandeur and formality of royal life firsthand. These visits were carefully orchestrated to ease Kate gradually into the royal environment, without overwhelming her with too much too soon. Kate's first visit to Highgrove, Prince Charles's beloved Gloucestershire estate, was particularly memorable. The organic gardens and environmentally conscious approach to land management reflected values that resonated strongly with Kate's own interests. She spent hours touring the gardens with Charles, discussing sustainable farming practices and conservation efforts. Her genuine enthusiasm and knowledge impressed Charles, who began to see her as a valuable addition to the royal family's environmental initiatives. The visit to Highgrove also provided Kate with insights into William's childhood and the influences that had shaped his character. She saw the treehouse that had been built for William and Harry, visited the organic farm operations that Charles had pioneered, and gained a deeper understanding of the values and traditions that were central to William's upbringing. This experience helped her appreciate the complexity of royal life and the careful balance between public duty and private interests that characterized the family. As the summer progressed, Kate became a regular presence at various royal properties, though always in a private capacity. She spent weekends at Balmoral, the Queen's Scottish estate, where she experienced the more relaxed side of royal life. The castle, with its highland setting and emphasis on outdoor activities, provided the perfect environment for Kate to bond with various family members while enjoying pursuits she genuinely loved. At Balmoral, Kate participated in the traditional activities that had been royal family staples for generations: hiking in the Scottish Highlands, picnicking beside mountain lochs, and attending the local Highland Games. Her enthusiasm for these activities and her ability to adapt to the rhythms of royal family life impressed everyone who spent time with her. She demonstrated physical stamina and good humor during long mountain walks, and her photography skills were appreciated by family members who enjoyed having someone capture candid moments of their gatherings. The summer also provided opportunities for William and Kate to travel together, albeit with careful attention to security and privacy concerns. They took several private trips within the UK, exploring parts of Scotland and Wales that held particular significance for William. These journeys allowed them to combine their shared interests in history, architecture, and natural conservation, while deepening their understanding of the heritage that William would one day inherit. One particularly meaningful trip took them to Wales, where William would later serve as president of the Football Association of Wales and eventually become the Prince of Wales himself. They visited ancient castles, explored rugged coastlines, and met with local officials who explained the cultural and historical significance of various sites. Kate's genuine interest in Welsh history and culture made a positive impression on everyone they met, and her natural ability to connect with people from all walks of life became increasingly apparent. However, the summer was not without its challenges. As Kate became more visible within royal circles, media interest in their relationship intensified dramatically. Photographers began staking out locations where she might appear, and tabloid newspapers started running speculative stories about their relationship's seriousness and potential for marriage. This increased attention was exactly what William had warned Kate about, but experiencing it firsthand was still overwhelming. The media pressure reached a crescendo in late August, when photographs of William and Kate together at Balmoral were published without authorization. The images, taken with long-range lenses from public land, showed the couple walking together in the Scottish Highlands, clearly comfortable and affectionate with each other. While the photographs were not particularly intrusive, their publication marked a new level of public interest in their relationship. Kate's response to this media attention revealed the strength of character that would serve her well in the years to come. Rather than being intimidated or resentful about the invasion of privacy, she approached the situation with remarkable maturity and grace. She understood that media interest was an inevitable part of any relationship with William, and she was determined not to let it undermine their happiness or compromise her authentic self. The support system that surrounded Kate during this challenging period was crucial to her successful adaptation to royal life. Her family provided unwavering emotional support, while William's family and friends offered practical guidance about managing media attention and maintaining personal boundaries. Most importantly, William himself proved to be an excellent partner in navigating these challenges, always protective of Kate's well-being while helping her understand the realities of royal life. The end of the summer brought both relief and anticipation as William and Kate prepared to return to St. Andrews for their final year of university. The months apart had tested their relationship in new ways, but they had emerged stronger and more committed than ever. Kate had successfully navigated her introduction to royal life while maintaining her independence and authentic personality. William had seen his girlfriend adapt gracefully to challenges that had overwhelmed other potential partners in the past. Their reunion at St. Andrews in September 2003 was emotional and joyful. Both had grown and matured during the summer months, and their relationship had evolved from university romance to something much deeper and more serious. They were no longer just two students dating. They were a committed couple with a realistic understanding of what their future together might entail. The autumn term of their final year would bring new challenges and opportunities. As senior students, they would have increased academic responsibilities and begin making serious plans for life after graduation. More importantly, they would need to make decisions about the long-term future of their relationship and how they would maintain their connection once the protective environment of university life came to an end. The summer of 2003 had been transformative for both William and Kate. They had successfully navigated Kate's introduction to royal life, weathered their first serious media attention, and proven to themselves and others that their relationship was built on a foundation strong enough to withstand the unique pressures they would always face. As they settled back into university life, Both felt a sense of confidence about their future together. They had faced significant challenges and had grown closer rather than being driven apart. The experience had confirmed what they had both begun to believe during their time at St. Andrews. They were meant to be together, regardless of the obstacles that lay ahead. Their final year at university would be bittersweet, marked by the joy of their deepening relationship and the sadness of knowing that their time in the protective bubble of St. Andrews was coming to an end. However, they faced the future with optimism and determination, knowing that they had built something precious and lasting during their time together. The final year at St. Dioco, Andrews University carried a poignant mixture of anticipation and melancholy for both William and Kate. As they returned to campus in September 2003, they were acutely aware that their time in the protective cocoon of university life was drawing to a close. The ancient stone buildings that had witnessed the beginning and blossoming of their love story would soon be just memories, but the foundation they had built there would need to support them through whatever challenges lay ahead in the real world. Their relationship had matured significantly during the summer months, evolving from university romance to something much deeper and more enduring. Kate's successful introduction to royal circles had proven that she could adapt to the unique demands of William's world while maintaining her own identity. William, meanwhile, had gained confidence that he had found someone who could genuinely understand and support him in his future role, while bringing joy and normalcy to his extraordinary life. As fourth-year students, both William and Kate faced increased academic pressures, particularly as they worked toward their final examinations and dissertation projects. William had chosen to focus his final thesis on art history, examining the evolution of landscape painting in the Scottish Highlands. The topic allowed him to combine his academic interests with his love of Scotland, and provided numerous opportunities for research trips throughout the region with Kate by his side. Kate's final project explored the intersection of art therapy and child development, reflecting her growing interest in using creative expression to help vulnerable populations. Her research took her to various schools and community centers around Scotland, where she observed art therapy sessions and interviewed practitioners about their methods and results. This work would later influence her charitable interests, and her approach to royal patronages focused on early childhood development and mental health. Their shared academic pursuits provided a natural framework for spending time together while pursuing their individual goals. They often studied in the same library corners where their friendship had first developed, but now their relationship carried the depth and intimacy of an established partnership. Fellow students had grown accustomed to seeing them together and respected their desire for privacy, creating an environment where they could maintain some semblance of normal university life, despite William's unique circumstances. The autumn months brought a series of memorable experiences that would later become treasured memories of their final year together at St. Andrews. They attended formal university events, participated in graduation planning activities, and enjoyed the changing seasons in the Scottish Highlands. Each experience was tinged with the awareness that their time in this special place was limited, making every moment more precious and meaningful. One particularly significant event occurred in October 2003, when the university hosted a major art history symposium featuring scholars from around the world. Both William and Kate participated in the event, presenting their research and engaging with academic experts in their field. Kate's presentation on art therapy impressed both faculty and visiting scholars, while William's work on Scottish landscape painting demonstrated his serious academic engagement despite the distractions of his royal responsibilities. The symposium also provided an opportunity for William and Kate to envision possible futures for themselves beyond graduation. They attended sessions on museum curation, art education, and cultural preservation, exploring career paths that might allow them to pursue their shared interests while accommodating the unique requirements of William's royal duties. These conversations helped them begin planning for a future together, while maintaining realistic expectations about the challenges they would face. As winter settled over St. Andrews, William and Kate faced important decisions about their post-graduation plans. William's future was largely predetermined by his royal obligations, including military service and eventual assumption of increasing royal duties. However, there was still flexibility in how he approached these responsibilities and significant decisions to be made about his personal life and relationships. For Kate, the choices were both more open and more complex. Her degree in art history qualified her for various career paths, but any professional decisions would need to be made in the context of her relationship with William and the unique circumstances that entailed. They spent many long evenings discussing these challenges, trying to balance their individual aspirations with their commitment to their relationship and their shared future. The Christmas break of 2003 represented another milestone in their relationship's development. For the first time, Kate was invited to spend part of the holiday season with William's family at Sandringham, the Queen's private estate in Norfolk. This invitation was highly significant as it marked her first inclusion in intimate royal family celebrations and represented a clear signal of the seriousness of their relationship. Kate's first Christmas at Sandringham was both magical and nerve-wracking. The estate, with its grand Victorian architecture and centuries of royal tradition, provided an awe-inspiring backdrop for holiday celebrations that followed protocols established over generations. Kate found herself participating in activities that ranged from formal Christmas Day church services to relaxed family games and outdoor pursuits. Her integration into the royal family's Christmas traditions went remarkably smoothly. She demonstrated appropriate respect for established customs while contributing her own warmth and enthusiasm to family gatherings. Her natural ability to connect with people of all ages served her well as she interacted with various family members, from the Queen herself to William's young cousins who were immediately charmed by her friendly and unpretentious manner. The Queen's initial assessment of Kate was positive, though characteristically reserved. Her Majesty appreciated Kate's respectful demeanor and her obvious positive influence on William, who seemed more relaxed and content than he had been in years. The Queen also noted Kate's intelligence and her thoughtful questions about royal history and traditions, suggesting someone who was genuinely interested in understanding rather than simply being impressed by royal grandeur. Prince Charles was particularly pleased with Kate's presence during the holiday celebrations. He had already developed a favorable impression of her during their previous meetings, and the extended time at Sandringham confirmed his belief that she would be a valuable addition to the royal family. Her interest in environmental issues and sustainable living aligned perfectly with his own passions, and their conversations about conservation and organic farming revealed shared values that went well beyond superficial compatibility. The return to St. Andrews in January 2004 for their final semester was emotionally challenging for both William and Kate. They were beginning their last few months as university students, a time that would be filled with final examinations, graduation preparations, and decisions about their immediate future. The approaching end of this chapter in their lives made every moment more precious while simultaneously creating pressure to make important decisions about their relationship. Their final semester was marked by a series of lasts that carried special significance. Their last formal dinner at their respective colleges, their last participation in university traditions, and their last opportunities to enjoy the relative privacy and normalcy that St. Andrews had provided. Each of these experiences was bittersweet, celebrated for its own sake while mourned as another step toward the end of an irreplaceable period in their lives. The academic pressure of final examinations created stress, but also provided opportunities for William and Kate to support each other through challenging times. They developed effective study strategies that played to each other's strengths, with Kate helping William organize his research and William providing encouragement during Kate's more stressful moments. Their ability to function effectively as a team during this high-pressure period confirmed their compatibility and mutual support. As spring arrived in St. Andrews, bringing longer days and warmer weather, William and Kate began making concrete plans for their life after graduation. They had decided that they wanted to maintain their relationship, despite the challenges it would face outside the protected environment of university life. However, they also recognized that they would need to be strategic about how they managed the transition to ensure their relationship could survive and thrive in the real world. William's immediate post-graduation plans included military training and service, which would provide structure and purpose while allowing him to develop skills that would serve him well in his future royal role. Kate's plans were less defined but included possibilities for work in the art world or with charitable organizations, areas that would allow her to pursue meaningful work while maintaining the flexibility that a relationship with William would require. The approach of graduation ceremonies in June 2004 brought both excitement and anxiety for the entire university community, but particularly for William and Kate. Their graduation would mark not just the end of their formal education, but also the conclusion of a remarkable chapter in both their personal development and their relationship. The ceremonies would also represent Kate's first major public appearance alongside William in an official capacity, as the media attention surrounding their graduation was expected to be intense. Their final weeks at St. Andrews were spent savoring experiences that had become precious to them over the previous 4 years. They took long walks along West Sands Beach, revisited their favorite restaurants and pubs, and spent quiet evenings in the places where they had shared so many meaningful conversations. Each location held memories of their relationship's development, from tentative friendship to deep and committed love. The graduation ceremony itself was a triumphant conclusion to their university experience. Both William and Kate graduated with honors, reflecting their serious academic engagement despite the unique pressures and distractions they had faced. The ceremony was attended by both of their families, marking a significant moment of convergence between the two worlds that had produced this remarkable love story. Kate's parents, Michael and Carol Middleton, attended the graduation with obvious pride in their daughter's achievements and happiness with her relationship with William. Their presence alongside members of the royal family symbolized the successful integration of different backgrounds and social circles that had characterized William and Kate's relationship from the beginning. The photographs taken at graduation would become some of the most treasured images of their early relationship, capturing the joy and accomplishment of two young people who had successfully navigated the challenging transition from friendship to love while excelling in their academic pursuits. The images showed William and Kate as confident young adults ready to take on whatever challenges awaited them in the next phase of their lives. As they prepared to leave St. Andrews for the final time as students, both William and Kate felt deep gratitude for the experiences they had shared there. The university had provided the perfect environment for their relationship to develop naturally and authentically, away from the intense scrutiny that would characterize their future together. They had been able to be simply William and Kate, two young people discovering love and building a foundation for their life together. The departure from St. Andrews marked the end of one chapter in their love story and the beginning of another. They left as a committed couple with a deep understanding of each other and a shared vision for their future, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them in the wider world. Their time at university had given them not just education and degrees, but something far more valuable: a love story that would captivate the world and a partnership that would endure for decades to come. As their car pulled away from St. Andrews for the final time, both William and Kate knew they were leaving behind a place that would always hold special significance in their hearts. The ancient university had witnessed the beginning of a royal romance that would eventually lead to marriage, family, and a lifetime of service together. Their love story, which had begun so quietly in the halls and classrooms of St. Andrews, was now ready to unfold on the world stage, built on the solid foundation of genuine affection, mutual respect, and shared values that would sustain them through all the triumphs and challenges that lay ahead.